Yo, Derek Parker, DP here. A little bit of a different video. We're going to be doing a 2025 NBA mock draft, but we're going to be doing it off the cuff. I'm going to run a live Tankathon sim, and then I'm going to use the Fanspo Mock Draft simulator to kind of run through the picks. Usually when I do mock drafts, it's very detailed down to the script, the editing, even sometimes the Tankathon spin. If I run and I get something similar as the last one, I'll give it a respin, but this time we're going to be going completely off the cuff. So for that reason, I'm only going to do the first 14. I know everybody always wants me to do the first round or, God forbid, the top 60, but I don't think it's going to be in the cards today. I don't know how intensive this edit's going to be or just how this video is going to go. So yeah, we're going to see what happens. Might be horrible, might be good. Anyway, without further ado, let's run a sim and see what we get. I'm excited. This is going to be a one and done. Don't think I recorded this multiple times, that I'm lying to you all. This is it. We're going to do one Tankathon spin. I'm personally, selfishly hoping for something crazy. Okay, so Charlotte jumps to 1. Philadelphia up 3 is a fun little pick. San Antonio is the biggest winner of this mock, up 5. People are going to love that. They think I'm preferential towards San Antonio for some reason, despite Spurs fans absolutely hating every pick I make for them. But I digress. Brooklyn up 2, and then the fallers here are Utah, Washington, Pelicans, and Toronto. Looks like 9 through 14 stayed the same. Rockets picking via Phoenix, Portland, Dallas, Chicago, Hawks, and the Spurs again selecting via Atlanta. Let's run it. Okay, so Hornets are on the clock. We've got our NBA mock draft simulator pulled up. Hornets number 1, you got your big board of available players right here per the Fanspo consensus. Your current roster, including salary cap, the apron, tax space, first apron space, team needs, and which picks are upcoming. Not a bad little layout here. You got your ad revenue. Shout out toothpaste. Let's get into it. Obviously, first pick here is going to be Cooper Flagg for the Charlotte Hornets. He's absolutely perfect for what they want to do, which is get better in every single way possible. And he brings that. He's 6'9". He can score. He can defend. He can pass. He's got high feel for the game. He's the best player in the class. He's the best player I've scouted probably since Victor Wembanyama. And he's 19, freshly 19. So home run swing here. I haven't been shy in previous mocks and just general videos that I don't know if LaMelo Ball is the answer in Charlotte. He might be. I just don't know. I mean, we haven't seen him really prove anything yet in terms of quantifiable impact over the course of a season or in the playoffs. So I think Cooper Flagg gives you another starting point if you need it, or this kind of malleable secondary piece that people think he'll be in terms of elevating the guys around him. So Cooper Flagg's a home run swing for anybody, but especially for Charlotte, who really needs defensive intensity of any kind. They need size. They need front court pieces. Perfect fit here, and I like it a lot for Charlotte. Now, selfishly, do I want to see Cooper Flagg go somewhere other than Charlotte? Sure. I mean, I think the new regime in Charlotte has been on the right track. I will say that. But I don't know. Cooper Flagg in a Hornets jersey, it just isn't. It's not sexy. You know what I mean? It's just not that sexy. So, okay, we're going to continue on. On the clock now, Philadelphia 76ers. This is tough because, I mean, theoretically, look at this roster. They shouldn't be here, right? Joel Embiid, former MVP. Paul George making $49 million. That's a tough number, but I mean, still should theoretically be a decent piece. Tyrese Maxey, young all-star guard. I mean, you've got Kelly Oubre, who in my opinion should be an all-star. No, I'm just joking. Jared McCain's a great piece. Eric Gordon, Kyle Lowry. You've got these vets. So, I mean, you look at this roster, you'd think they at least made the playoffs. No, they suffered all these injuries. There was dysfunction. Yada, yada, they end up here where they have top 5 draft odds and all this stuff. They shouldn't need anything. I mean, sure, they could use fringe pieces, but they don't need Dylan Harper. They shouldn't need these guys to return to contention, and yet, here they are. So, unless they land the number 2 pick, Philadelphia is a hard team to draft for. Fortunately for them here, they did, and I just don't see an outcome where the number 2 team doesn't take Dylan Harper or trade out of the pick to someone who really wants Dylan Harper, which we can do. I'm probably not going to do it for the purposes of today because, I mean, that's going to take forever. Could they do it and trade out? Sure, but, I mean, being a draft guy myself, I'm taking the talent every day of the week, and here we're going to take Harper. Now, make no mistake, at 6'6", I think Harper, despite coming in as somewhat of a combo guard, I think he's a point guard. I think he's shown he's more than impactful enough to command the rock, even if the passing isn't like plus. So that does make things a little shaky for Philadelphia. I mean, they've already got Tyrese Maxey, who is an on-ball guard. Jared McCain, who does shy more towards shooting guard, but also is going to be able to command the rock, and he showed that he's good enough to do that, even in the short time we saw him last year, somewhere around 15 points per game. So this isn't a great on-paper fit. I'll cede that, but he's too talented. I mean, when you get to draft a player like this, who a lot of people think has perennial all-star genes, you take it. I mean, you take it and you figure it out down the road. Are the Sixers going to get over the proverbial playoff hump with Joel Embiid at the center? It's looking like no. I mean, how much better can they really be next year opposed to this year? Obviously, if everyone plays, but I still don't know if this roster is going to be able to contend with the Celtics, the Cavaliers, like especially in terms of health. Do you trust these guys, Embiid, Paul George, to really make a 16-game plus run to the finals? I don't at this point. So if you take Dylan Harper here, you've got him, you've got Jared McCain, you've got Tyrese Maxey. Maybe you move off Embiid for a big package. Maybe you move off Paul George if you can. That contract's rough, $49 million over 4 years. Yikes. But maybe if you're able to offload those guys, get some picks back, and enter this new era with these hyper-talented guards, the 2026 draft is looking really, really talented. Maybe that's the move. So that's what I'm going to pick here for the Sixers, and we're going to continue. Next up are the Spurs, who, per the team needs, need just about everything, which I don't agree with this one. I think they traded for De'Aaron Fox. That's a fine trade. Stephon Castle has shown more on-ball juice than a lot of people thought, me included. I wasn't very high on Steph Castle, so glad to see him thriving there in San Antonio. The options here are interesting. They're interesting. Ace Bailey at 6'10", as a primarily off-ball player is extremely tantalizing for a team like the Spurs. If you've watched my Heat Check series or my other mocks, you'll know that I'm not as high on Ace Bailey as most, but I fully understand the swing here for the Spurs in terms of adding a guy that's lengthy, athletic, probably going to get a lot better to a team that could really use the fully realized version of that. Edgecombe he's nasty, man. I just finished my Heat Check on him. It's probably going to be the video before this one. He can do a lot of stuff. He really surprised me. I went in with a pretty open mindset, and I left pretty impressed. I think he's better at off-ball scoring than I thought. The spotting up, he wasn't terrible at. He can get and go and transition, obviously. And then he's got that pick-and-roll juice. And then defensively, not perfect, but he's a playmaker. Imagine how fun that would be for Victor Wembanyama, who's able to cover the rim perfectly, and Edgecombe can just roam and blow plays up and just do his thing. That'd be extremely fun. Trey Johnson's interesting to me. I think he's going to be one of the best scorers in this draft. I feel like Trey Johnson has given people the impression that he's this ball hog, shot chucker, Cam Thomas type player, and he's one of the better off-ball players in this class. To be honest, and that's what we're doing here. This video is about honesty. I would consider Con Knipple at 3. I really would, especially for the Spurs. He is just, I mean, you talk about pairing a guy like Con Knipple with Victor Wembanyama, who's going to have eventually MVP type gravity. Knipple would thrive, man. I mean, he would shoot roughly like 115 threes per game, probably somewhere in that range, hit most of them. He's got some on-ball juice. He's really good in the pick and roll, which he could do with Wemby. Knipple would just be an unbelievable fit here, dude. Like, to the point, should I do it? Should I mix it up? I gotta go with the upside. It's fine. We're gonna go Ace Bailey. I think Ace is a phenomenal fit with the Spurs. The upside's just too much with Ace Bailey. If he comes around and he does turn into a positively impactful player, which a lot of people think he can, I think he can. He doesn't have a long way to go in terms of being positive. I don't think necessarily the Rutgers season was, just with the shot selection, some of the defensive breakdowns, the lack of passing. But if a few of these things come around, if he's able to continue his fuego tendencies from beyond the arc, stick with a little more simple dribble driving, finish at the rim more efficiently, tune it up on defense, I mean, you're looking at a 6'10" do-it-all wing next to Victor Wembanyama for the next 10 years. No thank you, dude. No thank you. But if I'm drafting for the Spurs, thank you. Okay, next up, Brooklyn. 4th pick. It's interesting. I feel like we don't see Brooklyn jump too much in these mocks for whatever reason. We've got Edgecombe, who would probably be my best player available at this point. Trey Johnson's up there. Come on, Malawach would be a strong start to a rebuild, I would say, in terms of grabbing one of those lengthy two-way rim protector, rim runner hybrids. Kasparas Jakučionis is interesting. Again, Knipple. I'm going to go with Edgecombe. This is a pretty easy pick. As I was saying earlier, I think he's a better off-ball piece than people think, kind of a secondary creator. So he could insert himself into this Nets lineup, which right now is kind of a jumbled mess of win-now players and rebuilding pieces. He could be really good early, just doing simple things, spotting up, getting out in transition. But he's also got one of the highest ceilings in this class, and that's ultimately why I'm so high on him. If the floor is hyper-athletic Bruce Brown, and the ceiling is an all-star, I think that's a top 5 player in this draft. Probably the third best player in this draft. So I like Edgecombe a lot. I like him for the Nets. I think this is a super strong piece to kick off a rebuild with. So yeah, like it. Okay, we're on the clock with the Utah Jazz with the 5th pick. This is absolutely the hardest pick we've had to make yet. The Utah Jazz are highly interesting for a lot of reasons. I mean, you look at their roster, Lauri Markkanen, all-star type talent. John Collins, vet. Colin Sexton, vet. Jordan Clarkson, vet. And then you've got all these pieces here. Taylor Hendricks, Cody Williams, Keontae George, Filipowski, Collier. All these guys that make up this kind of jumbled, unproven young core. So they need talent. I'm of the opinion Utah should eventually offload Markkanen, Collins, Sexton, Clarkson, get some value for those guys and kind of propel themselves into this new era with all these draft picks they've accumulated. Right now, in 2025, at the top 5 pick, we need talent of any type. I don't care that most of their young players are guards or these kind of spindlier forwards. If that's at the top of the draft for them and that's who they think is the best player available, do it. For the Jazz, I'm essentially looking at 2 options here. Trey Johnson and Kasparas Jakučionis. Now, I know I just ranted and stomped my feet about taking the BPA, best player available. And for me, that would be Trey Johnson. But there is so much overlap between Trey Johnson and some already rostered players on this team. A few rostered players on this team. And I'm not totally sure that Trey Johnson fits into what's going on here so far. Not that I think he can't kind of morph onto whatever roster and become this kind of infusion of scoring. It just doesn't make a lot of sense unless almost none of these guys are a factor. And to add to that, Kasparas Jakučionis adds things that they need. He's a developmental, hope to get better type of pick. He adds that playmaking boost that a lot of these other guys in the class simply don't. And he's not so far behind Trey Johnson that it makes me feel icky about passing on who I would consider my BPA. I mean, they're nearly neck and neck, though for different reasons. So I'm going to draft Jakučionis for the Jazz here at number 5. I think that would be a phenomenal pick for them. It's definitely what I would actually do if I were in this situation. So we're going to rock with it and move on. At number 6, we have the Washington Wizards, now on the clock. The Wizards, I'm a fan of what the Wizards have done so far. I feel like they get unfairly grouped in with these teams that have been rebuilding for 10 years. I think this Will Dawkins regime has done well. I mean, given the picks that they've had, we can see the full depth chart right here. See, Bub Carrington, late lottery, was a fine pick. I mean, he might not be set to play the role he's playing now that's high usage and a lot of minutes forever, but I think it's a fine pick. Keyshawn George knocked that one out of the park. Bilal Coulibaly, absolute home run swing at number 7 or wherever he was drafted. And then Alex Sarr at 2, I'm still a fan of. I think there's so few players that offer the things that Alex Sarr does that the inefficiencies offensively just don't mean much to me at this point. I think he's going to be fine and impactful. So I like what the Wizards have done, honestly. I really do. Now, them falling to 6 is unideal. I will say. They could use almost every single one of these players. Truly. I mean, they need talent of any kind at this point. Flagg obviously would be phenomenal for them. Harper would be phenomenal for them. Bailey, I would understand given the timeline that they're in right now. Edgecombe, phenomenal. Jakučionis, phenomenal. They missed out on probably who would be my top 4 players for them. Knipple is great, as we've covered, but he's great in an off-ball ancillary type of way, and I don't think they have anyone currently rostered that will be there in the future that he could play off of, so that's a bit of a weird fit. Malawach, I've made that pick before, seeing as Alex Sarr is basically a gigantic wing, and I don't hate that, but I can understand leaning away from it. It's very odd. It's very weird. Trey Johnson, I'm not totally sure fits what the Wizards are looking for at the moment. I'm going to go with this. I've had some people I talked to about the draft bring this up to me, and I do think it makes a lot of sense. I love the idea of these kind of neo-traditional bigs, these throwback scorers who have a little bit of that new age streak in them. Derek Queen fits that mold. I mean, he can score on the interior. He's kind of got a little bit of a face-up jump shooting, the bones of that game. Really savvy passer, good at the footwork, positioning, all the fun stuff that players like Alperen Şengün, Domantas Sabonis can do. He's of that mold. But it takes so much for these guys to work. So much has to go right for them to really get the opportunity to shine. And even then, I tweeted about it last night in Rockets-Warriors Game 4. I'm still wary of the impact of these guys in the postseason. The physicality ramps up. They're 2-point heavy. It's hard to climb out of holes. It's hard to get big leads when you've got a heavy dose of 2-pointers, despite how fun they are to watch. So this one's interesting to me because to make those guys really shine, they need a 5 who can protect the rim and space out to the perimeter. And like I just touched on, I think the Wizards are going to have that in Alex Sarr. He'll be able to block shots. I think eventually he'll be efficient enough to at least spot up from 3, at least function on the perimeter in some capacity. So really interesting pairing here. I think the Wizards missed out on some of the higher ceiling guys in this class. I like a huge swing here, and I think Derek Queen is that. Fun pick. Next up on the clock, New Orleans Pelicans. I'm absolutely between two guys here, Trey Johnson and Con Knipple, for a lot of different reasons. Trey Johnson really gives that star scoring punch. This is a guy who within a handful of years could be averaging 15, 18, upwards of 20 points per game if you give him the rock enough. I really believe that. And the Pelicans could use that in their backcourt. I think a guy like this playing off of Zion Williamson would be exceptionally fun. And then Knipple might be the inverse of that. He's not a guy who's going to put up the most gaudy scoring numbers, but he's going to do absolutely everything right. He's going to take efficient shots. He's going to play stingy, tough defense, even if it doesn't always work out. He's going to make the right reads, the right passes. Honestly, I feel like I a little bit talked myself into it. I'm going to go with Con Knipple. Perfect fit here. I mean, this team lacks everything that Con Knipple adds in terms of kind of the secondary playmaking and the shooting and just that stingy overall impact. I like Con Knipple a lot, so I'm going to go with him here at number 7. Toronto Raptors here at number 8. Super fun team to draft for. Totally forgot they traded for Brandon Ingram. That was odd move, but they've got Quickly, who I like, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, obviously the centerpiece here, Grady Dick, who I liked a lot. And then some other fun young players, Jacoby Walter, Mogbo is fun, Shed was a fine second-round pick, Ulrich Chomshay. The Raptors are interesting because they've got all these theoretical win-now pieces, but they don't win with the win-now pieces. I'm going to go Malawach. I feel like Raptors fans are going to be mad at me if I don't because this is such a no-brainer, exactly what their type of front office would do pick. Malawach is great. I wouldn't let that last game, the 1 rebound or 0 rebounds, whatever it was, fool you. He's good. He's going to be good in the NBA for a long time. He's going to get a lot better as time goes on. I think he's going to be a legitimate rim protector, a legitimate rim runner. He's just going to be a phenomenal NBA player, and I think he gives this Raptors team a little bit of a boost. There's just not that many players like him in the NBA. There's a handful, and they're all really impactful. So I like him kind of giving that immediate two-way interior boost to a Raptors team that's probably looking to win immediately, judging by the Ingram trade. So we'll go with Come On Malawach, number 8. Rockets on the clock. Like I said, as of April 29th, I watched them lose to the Warriors on a grindy, gross, defensive-minded game. Their flaws were on display. I'll say that. The offense has been rough. They don't have that kind of late game killer right now. Fred VanVleet had it going last night, but that's not a guy you can rely on for 4 straight playoff series in hopes of getting to the title. So they don't have that guy, and they're not going to get that guy from the draft. Probably looking at some sort of consolidation trade in the offseason. Typically, I'm averse to those, but with the Rockets, I mean, they've got so many guys that they could offload and still have a ton of young guys. I think Amen Thompson is obviously the one you got to hang on to. Other than that, you can get a little creative with who you want to ship elsewhere and get a star. I'm fine with that. Here, I'm going to go with Trey Johnson. I feel like it's too good a fit next to Şengün right now, or just next to on-ball guys in general. There's overlap with guys on the roster already, like Jalen Green. I'm going to be brutally honest, ones I don't think should probably be on the roster come next season. So you get Trey Johnson, and he gives you that off-ball scoring punch next to Şengün. I mean, he could run off-screen actions all day long. He could relocate, spot up, shoot. I mean, he would just can triples and can mid-range jumpers next to Şengün for a decade, dude. He would be unbelievable. So I think he's absolutely the best player available based on who's here. So we're going to go Trey Johnson 9 to the Rockets. Got the Portland Trailblazers on the clock at number 10. Power forward is the severe team need here. I tend to agree, although the options here just don't call to me. Asa Newell's good. He's going to be fine at a lot of things. He's not the upside swing for Portland that I love right now. Colin Murray-Boyles, I think, is going to be really, really good. But just for the Trailblazers, it's a little bit of a weird fit because the spacing's already bad. They could definitely use CMB's playmaking. Defensively, he fits the mold well. But they don't have like a legit rim runner that he could play off of. They don't have shooters that he could really thrive with. So it's going to be incredibly, massively unpopular, I feel. But I'm going to go Yegor Demon. Hear me out. Just picture this. You've got 6'3" Scoot Henderson, 6'3" Anthony Simons, 6'5" Shaedon Sharpe. All smaller guys, none of them with real playmaking juice. I mean, they're fine. Shaedon Sharpe can pass it. Anthony Simons can pass it. Scoot has phenomenal passing juice for what he is, which is a high usage guard. I think he's phenomenal. I believe he had like a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio this year. That's great. Love that. Yegor's different. Like, he is all world passer, changes the game. He can zip stuff in transition. He can change half court dynamics with his passing. Again, he's 6'9". They need that backcourt size. There's also rumblings out there that Yegor Demon is going to have a hell of a pre-draft process. And it makes sense. He's gigantic. If he's like crushing the shooting drills in open gym, I mean, he's going to look like a future all-star. So I'm not under the impression that the Portland Trailblazers are close to where they want to be as a franchise or as a rebuild. So Yegor Demon is a huge swing here, but one that I like for them. He adds things that they don't have if he comes around, which I think he will. Yegor Demon, number 10 to the Portland Trailblazers. Book it. Oh, lordy. Dallas Mavericks, number 11. Let's just trade this to the Lakers for a second rounder. Sorry, that was mean. You got AD, Kyrie Irving, Clay, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Najee. It's a win-now core. Derek Lively's young. Other than that, you're an older win-now core. You're pretty front court driven, so you need guards of any kind. I say this all the time in mocks. There's no fixing the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, there's just not. You went from contender to hopeful competitive team next season. With injuries, who knows what that's going to look like. So there's no solving the Dallas Mavericks with one late lottery pick, but you can at least add talent for the future. I think for a team that needs a point guard desperately, you draft Jeremiah Fears and you figure it out down the line. The upside is there. The scoring punch is there. He's going to be able to refine his at-rim finishing, his passing, his defense. And especially if you give a guy like Jeremiah Fears the opportunity to learn under a guy like Kyrie Irving, there's similarities there. I'm not going to say Fears is the type of handler or on-ball force that Kyrie is, but they both like to do the same things. Fears is, at his core, a creator. Kyrie's the same. So I think it's a good pick, one that you make for the future. He's not going to help you next year. He's not going to help you the year after that. But maybe he's really, really good in 5 years, though, and you can somewhat salvage the previous era by kicking off a new one with Fears. Bulls are on the clock at number 12. Highly interesting team. Desperate need for point guard, desperate need for forwards, desperate need for center, desperate need for basketball players. You got Lonzo Ball, Nikola Vucevic, Pat Williams, Kobe White at this point is probably their most coveted young piece. Josh Giddey had a nice season. Dosunmu I like. Modest Pozelis was one of my favorite players in last year's draft class. He has exceeded my expectations in year one, so I'm still really, really high on him. This is a tough pick, dude. This is a really tough pick. I have drafted basically every upside swing. Derek Queen off the board, Malawach off the board, Demon and Fears both off the board here. Those are all guys I like for the Bulls in general. So I've I've done a phenomenal job of keeping them away. My gut leans Traore here. I still think he's fully talented enough to go in the lottery. I know he had a rough season over with St. Quentin in France. Just don't love their big options here. Sorber is interesting to me. Carter Bryant is interesting to me. But again, I want upside swings. I think those are guys who I think project to be median good role players. Traore is the only one here to me who jumps out as like high ceiling at this point. Of course, there's going to be a lot of guys here that really exceed expectations, but he's the only one that my gut's telling me could be a dude. Modest Bazelis is what's throwing the wrench in this. And I know that the Bulls need talent in general, so I shouldn't factor Bazelis in as the sole reason not to draft someone, but he plays that kind of small forward, power forward combo at 6'9", 6'10", which covers what Asa Newell does, Colin Murray-Boyles does, Liam McNeely does, Noah Esengwe. I mean, Rasheer Fleming. Like, he's a versatile piece, and I don't want to draft players that stop his shine. I'm going to go Traore. I'm sorry. That's going to be massively unpopular, but they're going to hate it. They're going to hate it. But you get a big guard who is athletic. He's smooth. He's silky. He's got high IQ. You know what? Let me just, again, close your eyes. Let me just take you through what's going to happen if the Bulls draft Nolan Traore at 12. They take him. There's chaos in the streets, riots. We don't need another guard. We have too many guards. They trade 2 guards in the upcoming season. Everyone says, okay, we can get him minutes. Fine. He plays. He isn't great, having already suffered a bad season in France. Now he's jumping to the much better NBA. That's even harder. He's thrust into this new situation overseas. And everyone's thinking, oh, we told you shouldn't draft another guard. He's not good anyway. And then a year goes by. The team isn't great because they've offloaded these pieces. They don't win many games. They get a top pick in 2026, and they get one of the top talents. Maybe you get a Devanta. Maybe you get Boozer. Then all of a sudden, you've got Modest Bazelis. You've got AJ Devanta. You've got, Traore, and he's actually coming around. Turns out he needed more than 1 year to look great. Turns out he needed NBA development. Bang, you've got this jumbo big 3 that you can move forward to into the future. I rest my case, Nolan Traore at number 12. So we're on the clock with the Atlanta Hawks at number 13. I don't even have to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. We're drafting Colin Murray-Boyles. I think it's such a fun fit for this team. All of the current existing pieces for the Hawks, even the ones that play on ball, are good off ball. Trae Young can spot up from anywhere on the court at any point in time. Riza Shea is a primarily off ball player. Jalen Johnson can do it off ball. So if you grab a piece like Colin Murray-Boyles, whose defense speaks for itself, he's going to be an absolute stud on that end of the court. But offensively, can do a little bit on the ball, can maybe be that high post hub or just an ancillary passer playmaker. That's super fun. That's really fun in the Hawks core. It's a different look than they've had over the last few years. And maybe most importantly, I think it helps you next year, which is what the Hawks are probably looking for. So no overthinking this one. Colin Murray-Boyles, CMB to the Hawks at number 13. And finally, we've got our very last pick, the San Antonio Spurs, again on the clock. They've already got Ace Bailey. We've got some options here, I will say. Asa Newell's fun as kind of a combo forward. McNeely is a theoretical wing shooter who could thrive. We've got some international talents. Noah Esengwe, really fun upside swing. Ben Saraf does a lot of things with the ball in his hands. Carter Bryant is going to be a popular pick there, just given how impactful he can be as a defender, as an off-ball role player. I'm going to go with Jace Richardson here, though. I think his high positivity, high impact game lends itself well to San Antonio, who have drafted and traded for on-ball guards, and here they get a primarily off-ball guard who can kind of moonlight as a point guard, but they mostly just get a player who's going to make the right play in the backcourt. He's not going to make a lot of mistakes. He's going to take the right shots. He's going to play stingy defense. He can pass. He can shoot. I like Jace Richardson a lot, just perennially off of Wemby, just kind of lurking there, ready to make positive impact plays. Fun fit, fun pick here to round out our lottery, and that's it. Bang, bang. Cooper Flagg goes to the Hornets. Dylan Harper, 76ers. Ace Bailey, Spurs. VJ Edgecombe and his smiley face to the Nets. Kasparas Jakučionis to the Jazz. Derek Queen, Wizards. Con Knipple, Pelicans. Come on, Malawatch to the Raptors. Trey Johnson, Rockets. Yegor Demon to the Trailblazers. They're not going to like that one. Jeremiah Fears to the Mavericks. Nolan Traore to the Bulls. They're not going to like that one. CMB to the Hawks and Jace Richardson to the Spurs. Let's do some winners and losers real quick. just kind of touch on the high and low points of this 14-man draft. Obvious winner in the Hornets getting Cooper Flagg. I think the Spurs getting a high upside swing in Ace Bailey, but a high floor player in Jace Richardson is really great. This would be a phenomenal draft for them. You get a front court and a back court player. Trey Johnson falling to 9 to the Rockets, I think, is big. That would be a phenomenal pick for them. I think he's set to impact the game in the NBA level, and they're a team that potentially looking to retool could use Johnson to kind of do that. And then all of the low points in this draft, I think, are based on the high risk picks. Derek Queen at number 6 to the Wizards. It could work out that he's this kind of Sabonis-esque player next to Alex Sarr who can block shots and shoot. That could be a phenomenal pairing. It could also bite the dust completely. He might not be able to physically hold up as well in the NBA. Alex Sarr might never be able to stretch the floor consistently, and you're kind of left with this low impact, gross front court. Yegor Demon to the Trailblazers. You could spend another late lotto pick here on a player who just doesn't come around. I like Demon. I think he's high IQ, but there are real athletic concerns in terms of him physically being able to adapt to the NBA. It already offered concerns at the college level. And then if the shooting doesn't come around, which is also a concern, you're left with another player who can't space the floor on the Trailblazers. Traore, as we've covered, obvious high-risk pick here. He didn't have a great season with St. Quentin. There's a chance that the jump to the NBA is just too much for a player like this, and he just can't figure it out in the short time needed. Overall, though, I like it. I don't think I did too bad a job. There's some iffy ones, but there's also some good ones. So another day, another nickel. So yeah, that was it. That was my first live mock draft. The scripted ones are not going away. The reason I did a live one this time is because I'm actually getting clips and scripts around for the actual draft lottery one. So I'm hoping after the draft lottery, I can have an actual mock draft up, scripted, written out, my thoughts on prospects within like minutes of the lottery happening. But I still thought this live version was fun. We got to make things up as we went along a little more. It was organic. So let me know if you were into this format as well. Maybe I can do both. And yeah, other than that, do all the YouTube stuff. Subscribe. That helps. Like. That helps. Comment. That helps. Only if you say nice stuff, though. If you comment bad stuff, it doesn't help. And that's it. Yeah, we'll see you next time.